स्मरो मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुवैष्णवांश क्षीरोपां साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथां वितं तं सजीवम् तावधेतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामीते नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुते नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांग राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुमस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So yesterday we started our discussion on the first chapter of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that is the characteristic of devotional service. So we'll continue the same. So we were discussing the first characteristic of devotional service, that is klesagani, relief from material distress. This is very nicely explained in this is klesagani, relief from material distress. So yesterday we discussed that why dukkha happens, why distress happens, mainly because of papa, because of the sin which we have done. And here it is mentioned that distress has these three causes: papam, bijam, and avidya. Root cause of everything is avidya. And because of avidya, we have material desire. And because of material desire, we act sinfully. So that is the main cause of distress. And we also discussed that how when we act sinfully, then it manifests the reaction in two ways. One is initially the reaction goes to aprarabdha, and then from aprarabdha, one part we fructifies, that is known as a prarabdha, which we actually suffer. And the other part of aprarabdha is it leads to unmanifest reaction, which will manifest in the future, and also it leads to kutam, that is the sinful proclivity or sinful tendency. So in that way, we see that how we become trapped in this network of sinful life, like this. So any sinful action we do, then it will have a prarabdha, that is unmanifest reaction. Now from a prarabdha, a part of reaction will get manifest, and a part of because of the sinful activity we did, so part of that will bring a kutam, that is a proclivity, and part of reaction will come in the future. I suppose somebody is drinking now. If he's drinking, then a part of reaction will come after a few years. Suppose it may come after 10 years that his lungs are having problem. And because of the act of drinking, he will have now proclivity to drink more. And a part of action will come in the future when he goes after death. He may be uh, made to suffer in the hell, or in the next life he may get some reaction, and part of aprarabdha may get manifest in the next life. So like that, one becomes trapped in the network of action, reaction, action, reaction, action, and reaction. So this we discussed yesterday, that papam, from papam aprarabdam. So a part of aprarabdam results in manifest reaction in this life itself. Like drinking, smoking may bring result in this life. And there are some papam which we may do and may not bring result in this life, but then they will bring result in the next life. Or there are some papam for which a part of result comes in this life and a part of result will come in the next life. So it is a very complex network of papam and how actually the prarabdha comes or the manifest happens. And also any sinful activity we do will also increase our sinful inclination, that is a tendency for sinful life. And bijam, that is the specific desire for the specific sin. So like this aprarabdha, in this stage, reaction is completely unmanifest. So aprarabdha you can see as that whenever we perform any sinful activity, aprarabdha means the results are stored in the bank account. We perform sinful activity and the reactions are stored in the bank account. Now, from that, a part of aprarabdha, because we have done a sinful activity, that brings kutam, sinful inclination, and then eventually sinful desire. And part of it will fructify, means the cash will come out, which we have to bear the result. That is prarabdha, that is the phala. So he is giving this example. Now, as a result of some sinful act, a man is destined to become a thief and suffer punishment. However, this reaction is not immediately felt. It is stored for a future birth. This is the stage of aprarabdha. In his next life, the reaction begins to manifest as an almost unnoticed proclivity towards dishonesty and cheating. This is the stage of kutam. This proclivity gradually intensifies and gradually manifests an explicit desire to steal. This is the state of bijam. Finally, this desire causes the man to commit theft and undergo consequential suffering. This is the state of prarabdha. So bijam is the specific desire, simple desire. So Srila Prabhupada quotes the example of Ajamila. And in spite of his strict performance of Brahminical duty, sinful desire remained in the Ajamila's heart and caused him to succumb to sinful life. Later, simply by chanting Narayana, he uprooted all his calamities, although he was in the midst of sinful activities. So Vedic rituals like charity, austerity can neutralize sinful reaction, but they cannot neutralize sinful desire. So all the process of atonement which are mentioned in the Vedic scriptures, which may include charity, austerity, sacrifices, they can neutralize and nullify the prarabdha part, but they can't do anything to the bijam, the kutam, and aprarabdha. So these three they remain, and that's why we see these kinds of examples are given in Bhagavatam. It's like an elephant taking bath, and after taking bath, he comes back and again he rolls on the ground. Why? Because the bijam, the kutam, and aprarabdha is still there. So although the sinful reaction has gone, but then because of the bijam and the kutam, again he commits sin. And then again he gets a sinful reaction. So all other process, they can nullify only the prarabdha, but they can't nullify the other thing. Whereas devotional service can uproot the sinful desire also, kutam also, aprarabdha also, and avidya also. So the root cause of suffering is avidya. So because of avidya, we got sinful desire, and then because of sinful desire, papam, then because of papam, aprarabdham, and from aprarabdham, a part becomes prarabdham, and then we also develop kutam, and then this cycle continues now. So originally, because of avidya, we got this sinful desire, and then we are trapped in this cycle. And because of this, we keep getting suffering also, that is prarabdha, manifest reaction. So uprooting ignorance is the best way to uproot suffering. And how are we ignorant? Rupa says, as long as one is ignorant about his identity, he is sure to act wrongly and thereby become entangled in material contamination. Exactly, we discussed prior to this that how pure devotional service means doing for pleasure of the Supreme Lord. But when we misidentify ourselves as this body and ourselves as an object to enjoy, so then what happens? We act for our selfish interest, we act to enjoy, and then that leads to perform papam. And then finally, we get trapped in the cycle of sinful action. But if we understand that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul and eternal servant of Krishna, and my existence is for giving pleasure or happiness to the Supreme Lord. So when we act in that consciousness, then we don't suffer, and then we can purify the cycle of bijam, kutam, aprarabdham, and prarabdham also. So ignorance is the best way to uproot ignorance is the best way to uproot suffering. So Srila Prabhupada, he summarizes that how pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the highest enlightenment. When such enlightenment is there, it is just like a blazing forest fire, killing all the inauspicious snakes of desire. In this quotation, Prabhupada expresses the Sanskrit word avidyam as desire. One usually translates avidyam as ignorance. Srila Prabhupada clarified. Similarly, the blazing fire of Krishna consciousness is so strong that the snakes of ignorance are immediately killed. So devotional service eradicates sinful reactions, that means prarabdha, nullifies sinful desires, that is bijam, counteracts material proclivities, that is kutam, and most importantly, uproots ignorance, that is avidya. Therefore, it is only efficient and effective way to achieve permanent relief of all suffering. So like that, we see that by the process of devotional service, one can be purified of all this. Srila Prabhupada gives example that we see in case of Haridas Thakur and we see in case of Vishwamitra Muni. So Vishwamitra Muni was trying to take help of yoga process and he wanted to become a Brahma Rishi. But then we see that when Menaka and Ramba came, he could not control himself and then he fell down. Whereas we see in the case of Haridas Thakur, who was immersed in taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord, that when the prostitute came, instead of getting affected by the prostitute, Haridas Thakur made her a devotee. So Srila Prabhupada says that this is the power of devotional service. And we see that how Srila Prabhupada says in ISKCON, even if a new person joins, so within few months he is able to give up many sinful activities. And is not able to give up forcibly, but he is purified of the desire also. Like some devotees may had a background of eating meat or drinking or smoking. But when they become devotees, then you find that they stop. And not only they stop the sinful activities, they also lose the desire for those activities. They also lose the proclivities for those activities. In India, many places you'll find they have this Nasa Mukti Kendra. And many people, they go to get relieved of their intoxication, their attachment to intoxication. And many times it is seen that they may follow whatever they learned or they may try to avoid it for a few months. And when they find opportunity and again when they find the resource, then they are again succumb to the same bad habit of intoxication. Whereas we see in Krishna consciousness, once the devotee stops and he takes to the process of chanting the holy names of the Lord, he never turns back. And he loses the desire, he loses the tendency, the proclivity. So that is the power of devotion service. So now here on this aspect, the Holiness Viraswan Maharaj has very nicely explained this. Uh, One time, Srila Prabhupada was giving this talk in Mayapur, and Prabhupada was talking like this, that how for devotees, uh, they don't have any reaction coming on them because everything is purified, including prarabdha. And many devotees, they were ill during that time in Mayapur. So one devotee asked that, Prabhupada, if devotees, they don't get karma to suffer, then how come all these devotees are suffering? And then Prabhupada said that this is their last suffering, and then they don't have to suffer further. So sometimes Prabhupada said like this. Sometimes Prabhupada said that this suffering is a token of suffering which we are supposed to get, which Krishna has reduced and given to us so that we can be purified. So like that, at different occasions, Srila Prabhupada has told a different thing. So now, on one hand, we see that by practice of pure devotion service, everything is purified. So our past karma, in the sense what is stored in the prarabdha, that also goes. And by the practice of devotion service, prarabdha also goes. Like we see Mother Dehuti says that how when someone becomes a devotee of the Lord, then even though he may be born in a dog eater family, still he becomes greater than the Brahmana. So in one way, his prarabdha got changed. But this current prarabdha was that he is born in a dog eater family. But then now he is a greater than a Brahmana. Like we see in ISKCON, somebody may be born in a lower caste or in a lower family. But then by the practice of devotion service and by the mercy of the spiritual master, he gets the Brahman initiation. So although as per his prarabdha, he is not supposed to worship the deities, but then because of the performance of devotion service, we see that he worships the deities. So at one point we do see that yes, we do see that some part of prarabdha is purified. But then there are other examples also. Here His Holiness Gadaswami Maharaj is quoting, like we see in case of Chandrasekhar, he laments that he is living in Varanasi, and Varanasi is a place full of Mayavadis. So he can't get association of devotees. So he says, Apana prarabdhe vasi Varanasi sthane Maya Brahma Sabda Vina Nahi Suni Kane. He's saying this all is because of my prarabdha that I got such opportunity to stay here in Varanasi. I am trapped here in Varanasi because of my prarabdha. So like that he says here. Due to my past deeds, I am sighting in Varanasi. But here, wait a minute. But here, I do not hear anything but the words Maya and Brahman. So now Maharaj is saying, we read in the statement to the effect that just by chanting one becomes free from more sins than one is able to commit. Or simply by circumulating Tulsi plant one becomes free from all sinful actions, even that of killing a Brahmana. But here the devotee Chandrasekhara is lamenting that because of my prarabdha I am stuck in Varanasi. Bhagavatam says, if the devotee goes on suffering his past misdeed and goes on offering obeisances to the Lord without reservation, then he earns the right to enter the kingdom of God. So we see there are statements that by chanting the holy names of the Lord, one can be free from the more sins than he can commit. Also, there are statements that by chanting the holy names of the Lord, all sins are vanquished. There are also statements that by circumulating Tulsi, one is free from all sinful reaction, including that of killing a Brahmana. Also, there are statements in the Bhagavatam that one should see all the suffering coming in his life as a reaction to his own karma. And he should be grateful for the suffering as a mercy of the Lord. Then he can come back to Godhead. So then how come both things are mentioned? And also here we see Chandrasekhara is saying that because of my prarabdha, I am stuck here. So suffering in the life of a devotee. So this very practical point Maharaj brings out. Does a devotee suffer his karmic reaction even after surrendering to Krishna? Or is suffering in the life of a devotee some special mercy? You will find Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he writes that as soon as one starts chanting the holy names of the Lord, he is no more under material energy. As soon as he starts chanting holy names of the Lord, he is directly now under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. So how to understand that the suffering which comes in the life of a devotee, is it his karma or is it being arranged by the Lord as his mercy? So then he quotes that Srila Prabhupada explains that one should not expect that just because he is engaged in devotional service, he will be immediately free from all reactions. He should expect reactions to come, but he should tolerate them at the same time continue his Krishna consciousness with determination. If you just surrender to Krishna, he will free you from all sinful reaction. And Srila Prabhupada has extended Krishna's statement in Bhagavad Gita to the spiritual master. So the question is, are we actually free from all sinful reaction immediately when we surrender, or do we gradually become free? Now Srila Prabhupada gives some other hint which could help us to resolve the question. He says when the devotee surrenders to Krishna, Krishna will take charge of devotee's sinful reaction and use the devotee's sinful reaction for the best benefit of the devotee. So this is how actually we can reconcile this. So what our Acharya says, what happens is, the moment we surrender to the spiritual master, Krishna, to the process, what happens is, now we are no more under material energy of the Lord. So what happens is, our karma, now Krishna takes. And in most cases, unless we purify, unless we fully surrender, what Krishna does, that karma which he has taken, from that only he keeps giving to the respective devotee. But he gives in such a way so that the devotee becomes more closer to Krishna, so that the devotee becomes more purified. So now, although in one way karma is not fully vanquished because it is there with Krishna, but it is not the same as a non-devotee suffers, because in case of non-devotee, the material energy is giving whatever the prarabdha he is supposed to get. But in our case, our karma is taken by Krishna. Now Krishna decides how much he should give, when he should give. As Srila Prabhupada says, it may happen in some cases that Krishna may reduce also. And Krishna sees that how this karma can help you in your devotional service. Because we are not fully purified as of now. So Krishna uses our karma to purify us. Krishna uses our karma so that we can go closer to the Supreme Lord. So like that. So in that way, when devotee suffers, it is mercy of the Lord because it is coming through Krishna. In that way, we can think whatever suffering is coming, it is due to my own past karma only, because it is not that Krishna is manufacturing suffering to give us. For we sadhakas, it is not that Krishna wants to use us in past time, so he is making us suffer so that he can teach to the world. No, we have enough of our karma, and Krishna is just giving a token of it for our purification. So we should have that humility that actually it is my karma only. I deserve much more to suffer, but because of Krishna's kindness, he has reduced. And also as a sadhaka, what Krishna wants to see in that suffering, that how we turn our attention to Krishna. The moment suffering comes, then we can reflect back that it is my own karma because of which I am suffering. But now in this, let me see opportunity to go closer to Krishna. So in that way, we should not get affected by suffering which is coming in our life. We should see that as an opportunity to turn back to Krishna, to look towards Krishna. And most of us who are at Sadhaka platform have this realization that whenever we undergo suffering, whenever difficulty comes, we are forced to go deeper in our spiritual life. We are forced to turn towards Krishna. Suddenly our thought process becomes very internal, and then you turn to Krishna. The best of our prayers, they come out when we are in a suffering situation. Otherwise, other times, even if we pray, they are more mechanical or ritualistic in nature. But actually, when something happens which really shakes us, then those are the times where you go and stand in front of the Lord and you deeply and sincerely pray, my dear Lord, please help me, like that. So in one way, you see, for sadhakas, we need this kind of reaction. And that is the reason if Krishna wants, he can just fully purify also. Why not? If he has taken all the karma of a jiva, the moment the jiva surrenders to the spiritual master, then Krishna can fully vanquish also. But he does not do so because he knows that this can become a helping tool in our life to awaken our Krishna consciousness. And that's why Krishna uses that to awaken our Krishna consciousness. So in that way, we can reconcile both things. We can reconcile that, okay, when somebody chants the holy names of the Lord, when somebody surrenders to the Supreme Lord, then this also is true that all his karma goes. Because now we don't have karma. And it's also true that we suffer, and that suffering comes how? Because Krishna has that karma. Krishna has taken our karma, and from that, Krishna keeps giving us. So in that way, we can be humble also when we suffer that it is my karma only which is coming. And we can be grateful also that, see, Krishna is so grateful that he is thinking about me. Can you imagine having Supreme Lord thinking about you? It is such a special privilege we have because of our trying to surrender to the spiritual master and chanting the holy names of the Lord. So Krishna is concerned about us, Krishna is thinking about us, and for our spiritual benefit and advancement, Krishna is giving our karma, a part of it, back to us, like that. So this is how we reconcile how devotees they suffer in their life. So this is a very nice line. When we surrender to Krishna, even at the stage of sadhana, that means even in our beginning stage of spiritual life. The first point is very special. Krishna takes personal interest in the life of a devotee. Actually, it is very special that Krishna takes personal interest in the life of a devotee. Many times Radhesham Prabhu shares about these three categories. That one is atheist, then second one is theist or religious, and third one is a devotee of the Lord. So, atheist is one who does not believe in the existence of God, who just want to speak against the Lord. And religious means they want God in their life for their own benefit. But who are a devotee of the Lord, who live for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So why Krishna becomes property of the pure devotee? Because a pure devotee does not want anything material. So Krishna becomes owned by their love. Actually, one can understand it by practical experience. Like Radhesham was sharing in one class that one time one person came and he wanted to meet him. And Prabhuji gave him time that you can come at this time, I'll meet you. And then he came at that time, but then some other engagement came. So that person waited for 1 or 2 hours, and when Prabhuji became busy, could not give time. Then after 2 hours, Prabhuji understood that my schedule is quite packed, I can't give him time. So Prabhuji told you come tomorrow. So again he came tomorrow at 11 a.m., which the time which Prabhuji gave. Then again he came, and that time again a group, some group from some temple came, and then again Prabhuji had to give time. He was waiting. And then Prabhuji told him that, Arey, today also the schedule is packed now. So he said, no, Prabhuji, you can give time to that group. After that, I'll meet you. And Prabhuji told, but after 1 o'clock, I have another engagement. He said, no, Prabhuji, after that, you can meet. I'll wait. So it became 4 p.m. And then Prabhuji had one more engagement. It became 7 p.m. And then 7:30 p.m. when Prabhuji was coming back, Prabhuji saw him still waiting. So how many of you feel if somebody is waiting like this for you, then how many of you feel that naturally your affection will flow towards him and you can't help yourself then to give time to him? How many of you feel that you will surely give time to such a person? Is it not? So same is the situation of pure devotee. They don't want anything. They just want to serve Krishna. And that is why uh, uh, Krishna becomes owned by their love. Their love touches Krishna. Another example I heard was that once a businessman was going from Pune to Bombay, and then his car got some problem, and then he went nearby. He saw a person in the village. He asked him, "Can you help?" He came, and then he helped repair the car, and the car started functioning. So he was a rich person, so he immediately took out 5,000 rupees and told this village wala person, "Take this." So this village wala person said, "Sir, you are like a guest to my house, and I came here just to help you, not to have anything in return. So please, I'm very happy I could serve you, and please now you can go to your place." So when this businessman heard that he's not taking anything in return, so then he took out his personal card, which generally he does not give to anyone. Very rarely he gives. And he told this village wala person that this is my personal card, and whenever you come to Bombay, surely come to my house. Please do come to my house. And then he went. So now, why this fellow businessman gave his personal card to this village wala person? Who can say? What inspired him to give his personal card and welcome him to his house at Bombay?
Really selflessness of the person, because he
Yeah,
was touched by
right. Because he was touched by.
selflessness of the person, Prabhuji. Like उनको कुछ नहीं चाहिए था.
Right, right. So he got touched by that he does not want anything in return and he's just serving me. Just imagine if there is a person who just serving you and you want to give him something and he says, no, I just want to serve you. So then what you will end up giving him? You will end up giving him your affection and love, because only that is left which you can give to such a person who does not want anything else, is it not? Same thing happens in case of a devotee and Krishna. Devotee is selflessly serving. And then Krishna wants to give him something, and devotee says, na dhanam, na dhanam, na sundarim. And then Krishna ends up giving his love for the devotee, even though he may not want, because devotee owns that love by the Lord. Devotee purchases the Lord by that love, like this. And that's how we see that a devotee becomes very dear to the Lord. Devotees are the property of the Lord, and Lord becomes the property of devotee. You see in case of Madhavendra Puri, for himself, he didn't made a small hut also. He would travel, and for himself, he would not even go for asking alms also. Can you imagine? He would never gather any ingredients. He would not ask alms. He would not make a hut for himself to stay. But when it came to Krishna, how much he worked hard. He gathered all the people in the village. He made a nice temple for the Lord. And then when Lord came in dream that I want Chandan, he himself walked all the way to Jagannath Puri, and then he was bringing the Chandan. So when Lord sees this, that Are, he is not ready to do anything for himself, and for me he is ready to give his life. So then that touches the heart of the Lord. And Lord can't help himself then to give love to such a devotee. Just imagine if in your life there is a person who for himself is not working, for himself is not bothering, but for you he is ready to do anything. Then you can't help yourself then to love such a person. And that's how the devotees, they conquer Lord by their selfless service. They conquer Lord by their only desire to please him. And that's why devotees, they give himself fully to Krishna, and Krishna gives himself fully to the devotee. So those who are religious, they have a thought process, I need Lord for my happiness. And those who are spiritualists, they have thought process, I exist for your happiness. That is different. So those who are religious, they want God, but why? For their happiness. But those who are devotees, they exist for Krishna's happiness. So for religious people, Krishna is the means, or even for mixed devotees, Krishna is the means. Whereas for pure devotees or sincere devotees, Krishna is the goal. So same way, when we see that how, when we are trying our best to selflessly serve Krishna, then we find that how Krishna gives his love. The moment actually we take up to the process of devotion service, we come in the attention of the Lord. How special it is. Even at the stage of uh, sadhana, Krishna takes personal interest in the life of devotee. Now it is up to us that how much we want to attract Krishna, how much we want to please Krishna. That each one of us have to see for ourselves. But one thing is sure, Krishna is looking at each one of us. Krishna is paying close attention to each one of us. Krishna is taking personal interest in our life. In fact, you can see that how after certain years of practicing spiritual life, if you sincerely pursue, you can see so much super soul also guiding from within. You can hear your Chaitya Guru, the Lord inside also, so much reciprocating and helping you. In certain situation, you will find that from inside the super soul will say, don't do this. Sometimes you will feel, do this. Like I'm taking care of maintenance in the temple and the project also. Uh, Improvement in the project or some enhancement in the project or making some new things. So sometimes what happens, some thought comes that, here we should do this, or, we should change the pathway, or we should plant these kind of trees here, or we should have this particular building here. And then sometimes I get confused because 3, 4 ideas come that which one to go for. What I do is I don't take decision in those situations. I pray to the Lord that, Lord, this is your temple. Please guide how you want, what will be better. And then I wait for 3, 4 days. After 3, 4 days, somehow, if there are 4 ideas, other 3 ideas they go, and only one of them will remain. And then I tell the devotees who are with me that Prabhu will go ahead like this. So many times devotees they ask me कि प्रभु आप पहले तो confused थे, अभी एकदम इतना confidently बोल रहे हैं यही करना है. Then I told I don't know why, but now today my thought is very clear that you have to do this only. And when it came out, it was very much appreciated by the devotees also, and it very nicely harmonized with the whole temple beauty and everything. So we see that actually we can feel presence of the Lord after we start practicing spiritual life. But now devotee is still not yet free from the material traces or material desire. But Krishna wants the devotee to become free from such traces of material desire, so that the devotee can advance to higher stages. So one of the way that Krishna helped the devotee by putting him into difficulty, so that the devotee remember Krishna more and more, and he becomes more serious about the process of Krishna consciousness. So we cannot say this is exactly karma, because karma is just automatic reaction which one gets because of his sin. But here it is Krishna's mercy who is administering to that devotee. So that's why I said you can say both. When we are suffering, we can also say, as that verse says, that it is my own karma only we are suffering. Because someone may get a feeling, अरे कैसा भगवान है, हमको भक्त बनाने के लिए हमको इतना दुख दे रहा है. ऐसा नहीं है. It is our own karma only which Krishna is using. And we can also see in a way that it is Krishna's mercy coming in my life. Because it is not just the automatic reaction. Krishna required, then he may reduce also. And he may give when appropriately it is required in our life. So Krishna is very much seeing that. And Krishna may totally purify the reaction also if not required. If you are humble, if you are sincere, and if you are serious. And actually these three qualities somebody has, then Krishna may not want him to suffer also. Most of the time what happens, as a devotee, we may become proud, then Krishna feels the need to purify us. Or we may lose or lack sincerity, then Krishna may need to purify us. And or we may not be enough serious, then Krishna may want to increase our seriousness in our spiritual life. And so as devotees, that's why whenever we suffer, we can reflect back in these two ways, that it should increase our humility, thinking that it is my own karma because of which I am suffering. I have done so many things in the past, and because of which the suffering is coming. So first humility should come, and then gratitude should come that, but Krishna is very merciful. I deserve much more to suffer, but he is so kind that he has given such a less suffering. And third is find out why this suffering is coming. Maybe I was not so serious. Now Krishna is giving me opportunity to reflect back and become serious. Maybe I became proud by certain achievements, but now Krishna wants to humble me. Or maybe I am not enough serious about my spiritual life. I am getting carried away by so many things. But now Krishna wants me to be focused in my spiritual life. So like that we have to see. So first is humility, second is gratitude, and third is the opportunity which Krishna is giving you to become Krishna conscious. So any suffering comes, first it should bring humility, then it should become gratitude to the Lord and his mercy, and then opportunity. So here it is said, when the devotees don't resist or resent the Lord's mercy, but they actually appreciate the Lord's mercy. So first is humility, then gratitude, and then the opportunity, as I said. Then they become qualified to enter the kingdom of God. And this is very important aspect. Many times when some suffering comes in our life, sometimes devotees, they become very hopeless that I am trying to be devotee. How come Krishna is giving this suffering to me? Or sometimes we may not understand that how the suffering is a mercy of the Lord. So we have to know that actually we have done so much in our past, and we have so much material desires or material traces in our life that we need this suffering. Sometimes I have seen while guiding devotees, sometimes you try to explain them that, Prabhu, you please take care of your spiritual life. Please at least, do your regular sadhana nicely. They don't understand. And you can see that somehow they need something else. They are getting guidance and they know the process, but then still somehow something is not allowing them to take up seriously. And when Krishna gives some kind of a jerk to such devotee, then you find that they get shaken up, and then they may understand that why this is happening to me, and it may help them in their spiritual life if they have a right consciousness like that. And if they don't have right consciousness, then for time being they may little bit go away from Krishna consciousness, but then Krishna makes arrangement. Slowly, gradually, they may come back to spiritual life. If not in this life, than in next life. But Krishna is always making a plan to help us to come closer to Him. Krishna is always seeing that how we are purified. And actually, this kind of selfless love, which I spoke before, uh, with no other desire than to please Krishna, this selfless love only satisfies our heart fully. This kind of love only we are looking for. So it is not that, oh, why we should love Krishna so much. It is in our interest to love Krishna in such selfless way. Because we need Krishna. Krishna does not need us. He has so many devotees. But we need Krishna because our heart will be satisfied by having relationship with Him. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has analyzed the eradication of anarthas. So anarthas we discussed, there are four kinds of anarthas: Sukritutha, Duskritutha, Aparadutha and Bhaktiutha. So he says these anarthas, they go gradually. Here it is mentioned, uh, so some which are due to the past sinful activities, some are due to the past pious activities, which in one sense come in the same category. So that means he is putting Sukrututha and Duskrututha. So here is the way the eradication of these anarthas it takes place. So Bhakti Uttha means the anarthas which come because of the practice of our devotional service, the weeds which grow, they will go at the stage of Ruchi. And Sukrututha and Duskrututha, they will completely go at the stage of Asakti, just before Bhav. And Apradutha, very serious, they will go at the stage of Prema. So these anarthas, this is how the purification will happen. So in one way, this purification as we make advancement in our spiritual life, so gradually these anarthas will be purified. Gradually this reaction will go. Another place, Lavachanath Thakur, he says that this purification happens where in the last prarabdha will go. He says, like when we take to the process of surrendering to the spiritual master and Krishna. So aprarabdha will go, avidya will go, putam will go, bijam will go, but last prarabdha will go. So in that sense also we see that most part of prarabdha Krishna uses to purify us. Because it takes time for us also to advance to these higher stages of spiritual life. It takes time for us also to purify and fully surrender to the Supreme Lord. So that's why most of our prarabdha Krishna uses for our spiritual upliftment. And other process of getting rid of suffering, like atonement, charity, sacrifice, or bathing in the sacred rivers like Ganga, they can nullify the sinful reaction, but they can't nullify the putam and bijam. And because of this reason, the person again repeats it. So what is the process for removing ignorance, which is the basis of suffering? Any desire for some gratification is ultimately sinful. So Rupa Goswami has cited verses from the scriptures, especially Bhagavatam, to the effect that penance and other type of atonement can neutralize sinful reaction, but they cannot eradicate sinful desire. Ajamila chanted the holy name once. He was freed from hellish reaction. He wasn't liberated, but he was free from hellish reaction. And if we read verses in Bhagavatam, we will see Bhagavatam very clearly says, holy name, chanting the holy name, he was freed from hell. But the chanting of the holy name gives rise to bhakti, whereas other forms of atonement do not give rise to bhakti. And that's why we always go on the street with Harinam and we tell people to chant Hare Krishna. Because by chanting, they will come to the stage of devotion service. And bhakti destroys the desire to commit sin gradually. A neophyte devotee may not commit sin, but gets carried away by the opulence, followers, etc. So these are bhakti anartha, anarthas arising from bhakti. One will attract all this, and he may get distracted also in devotion service. If he becomes distracted, then there may be some lapses. So these have been called weeds. And there are many examples of the weeds. So weeds like material attachment can weaken us but cannot make us fall down. Because Maharaj says this Tirthanartha, because of that we may have these weeds. What are the weeds? Puja, La, Pratishtha, and these weeds which are mentioned in the scriptures. So because of this, what happens? We may weaken, but we may not fall down. But what happens because of this? First we become weakened, and then we offend, and then we fall down. So that's how a devotee, a sadhaka, has to be careful. Now, why a devotee is put into suffering? So pure devotee facing suffering. So what happens? Kala, it brings everything in our life. So for pure devotees, Kala brings the sweet will of the Lord. For non-devotees, Kala brings their karma. But for sadhaka, the Kala is bringing the mercy of the Lord, where the Lord is using our karma to purify us. So for pure devotees, when they suffer, that is the will of the Lord. Like Pandavas, they suffered so much. Like one day you were asking me, Prabhuji, why Pandavas suffered so much, what action they did in the past. So they don't have that kind of background. But then Krishna uses them for his pastime. And that's why Bhishma says that why all of you are suffering, no one can understand. Because all of you don't have that background of doing any sinful activity. A neophyte devotee facing suffering, when one surrenders Krishna, Krishna takes charge, and Krishna can accomplish many things with one action. So when he puts the devotee into suffering, one purpose is to increase his dependence on the Lord by taking a test and passing a test. One make advancement. This also you will find sometimes when tests come in our life, even in our normal life when we give exams. So some people may fear going for a test. Array, again exam has come. I have to again do this. So we may fear, but if you see, when you pass the test, then only you are promoted to the next class. So one way to see the test is we may see them as to fear, but another way to see the test is as an opportunity to go and promote ourselves. So when such suffering comes and still we remain humble, grateful, and see the opportunity to go closer to Krishna, then we are passing that test. And Krishna becomes happy by seeing the devotee passing the test. And others also feel very happy that how the devotee he passed that test. Okay, so now we could complete this Klesagani, and next time, Monday, we'll discuss the next characteristic, that is Subhadha. His Holiness Garaswami Maharaj very practically explained how we can see our suffering and how we can reconcile all these verses. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If any question anyone has, they can ask now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Dhananjay Prabhu.
Prabhuji, my question is like you just mentioned that when we surrender to the Lord, He acts as Guru and He many times guides us. But Prabhuji, in our case, we see that we are sadhakas and it becomes difficult to discriminate between whether it is something that our mind is telling or whether Krishna is acting there as Guru, because we are still practicing, so we don't know. So in that case, how to understand that we are getting some proper guidance?
Yeah, so see, in our case, mostly we should rely on taking guidance from devotees. But what I was telling, sometimes what happens, you are given some freedom to decide. or sometimes there are certain things which you are told you can decide. In such situation also you will find that super soul will guide you as you grow slowly, and as you try to pray to the Lord, then you'll find you will get that guidance also. And see, when we grow in our spiritual life, we will have a combination of all. Same Lord, when He comes externally, He will guide us in the form of spiritual master, devotee. Same Lord is guiding internally also. So, as a sadhaka, we should try to be accountable, to take guidance from the devotee. But as you grow after some years, you will be given some freedom, and that time you will find that super soul will help you to take some decision. You're getting my point?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Like I have another practical experience. Once what happened, I got cough, and I told devotee that I don't know why cough is not going. Dry cough was there. So the devotee took me to the Kulwanti hospital is there in one Kanpur, and there one Muslim doctor was there. So he showed me to the doctor. Then he gave me some medicine I took for a week, but nothing much improvement happened. He told me I got some TB when I was a small boy. Because of that, something is coming back. Like that, he told me. And I asked my father. I called him that did I got TB when I was small? My father told, बेटा हमारे पूरे खानदान में किसी को टीबी नहीं हुआ है. Then I told, अच्छा पापा. Then next week, again I told the devotee that Prabhu, I'm not getting cured. What should I do? Again he took me to Kulwanti, same hospital. Again the doctor gave the medicine and all. And then the devotee was going for taking that. Generally, whenever I go hospital, I keep chanting inside because I feel afraid what they will do. So when the devotee was going to the medical shop for taking the medicine which was subscribed by the written by the doctor, I don't know, from inside a very strong feeling came that I should not take this medicine. So I told that devotee, Prabhu, don't purchase the medicine. Then I called, I had one doctor in touch with me. Then I called at Regency, then I went there. Then he told that actually he diagnosed you wrongly. And later on I understood because he was a Muslim doctor, no, I'm wearing saffron, so I don't know, he may have some personal agenda like that. So sometimes what happens, there are certain situations where you need certain help which may not be provided by devotees also. So then super soul help. But Lord will help when we have an attitude of following, which I spoke last time also. If we have an attitude of avoiding taking guidance from devotees and being accountable to devotees, even super soul will not help. But when we have an attitude of following, when we have attitude of being accountable, then when we are put in a situation where we don't have devotees, Krishna will come to rescue. Krishna will come to guide. You are getting this point, Dhanjana?
Yes, 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 Prabhuji. Understand.
Okay. Yes, Akash too.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji, for this wonderful clarification how Krishna is using our karma. Although we are free because he have taken all the karma, but he is using that. This is why we are getting. तो बहुत बार कंफ्यूजन हो जाता है इसमें यही. तो प्रभु जी मेरा जो प्रश्न था वो था कि selfless service, how one can come to this level, because in my personal case I feel it is very difficult. इतना सारा मटेरियल डिजायर, इतना सारा जो संस्कार घर से मिला है पहले से ही, तो वो सेल्फलेस सर्विस, इवन वी नो we do services to the Lord, but it is very difficult to say that it is selfless. कुछ ना कुछ मोटिव तो वो रहता ही रहता है. If I am in a job, I am giving something फॉर द सर्विस ऑफ लॉर्ड, तो उसमें भी रहता है कि जॉब अच्छा रहे यार, थोड़ा इंक्रीमेंट हो जाए, तो वो सेल्फलेस कैटेगरी से मुझे लगता है बाहर हो जाता है. इफ आई एम प्रिपेयरिंग, देन रहता है कि जल्दी से जॉब लग जाए, पढ़ाई भी भगवान के लिए नहीं कर पाते हैं. सो हाउ टू कम ऑन दिस लेवल ऑफ सेल्फलेस सर्विस?
So actually, in our case, at least first is we should have this aspiration that I want this. Naturally, we may not be at that level now because we are beginners in our spiritual life. But at least first is we should have the aspiration that I want to live for Krishna's pleasure without asking anything in return. And then slowly, gradually, when we try to chant nicely, slowly, gradually, when we try to read and hear the pastimes of the Lord, we read the examples of Acharyas. We see Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He was also Virasta. He was also having a big post, district magistrate. But then we see that how he was selflessly trying to serve the Supreme Lord. He was giving so much of his time where he wanted to make the temple of the Lord at his birthplace. He started Namhattas. So much he was extending himself to help people to connect to the Supreme Lord. Is it not? So when we have aspiration and then we take right association, then slowly, slowly you'll find we reach it. So recently Radhesham Prabhu told a very nice thing. He said, association decides your direction. And then eventually you reach destination. So first is your aspiration, and as per that aspiration, take right association. And in that right association, cultivate your Krishna consciousness, and then you will reach a right destination. So we may not be aspiring for pure devotion service, or sorry, we may not be practicing pure devotion service or selfless pure devotion service now, but we can aspire. And see, aspiration cannot be limited or bound by our conditioned nature. Aspiration is a uh, property or soul can do that. So we can aspire for pure devotion service, we can aspire for selfless devotion service. If not today, at least by that time we give up our body, we can cultivate that I just want to serve selflessly Krishna. And you see all the examples in the scriptures, those who selflessly served, be it squirrel, be it Dukhidas, be it Sabari, anyone who selflessly served without any expectation, you'll find Krishna blesses them. Because naturally his love flows towards that person who is selflessly doing it. It is painful for a conditioned soul. Like when we do something and we don't get credit, it is very painful for our heart. Sorry, what is this? I worked so hard and not a single credit given to me. But if you do it and understand that how I'm here not to please myself but to please Krishna. And if I don't take credit, if I offer everything to Krishna, Krishna will become happy. Like that. And we have to become examples like that as Srila Prabhupada wanted. We should not worry too much about our pleasure. We can take care of our basic things, basic needs, and rest everything, including our body, mind, words, our resources. We should try to engage them in the service of the Lord. And that shows that how much we are actually wanting to selflessly serve Krishna. We see Amrish Maharaj, although he was a king, every day he was engaged in cleaning the temple of the Lord. You know, every day he was engaged in hearing about the Supreme Lord. So like that, aspiration and then association, sincere practice, we reach. Okay? Yes, Indranil Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, another question was there.
Okay, you can ask after him. Okay, next question.
Okay.
Yes, Indranil Prabhu.
Today we saw example in today's class about Chandrasekhar, and in the verse it was there that because of Prarabdha in Varanasi he was not getting association. But as we have heard before, when someone is not getting association, that is because of his aparadh. He is either he has aparadh tendency, he has done aparadh, or he will do aparadh. That's why he do not one does not get association of devotees. So how we can credit it to prarabdha or sinful sin papam that he is in away from association of devotees, because when we see suffering or prarabdha, that is mainly to body, like someone is poor, someone is not healthy, disease condition. These all are we hear generally the examples of papam or prarabdha. So how obstacles in bhakti or not getting association is also part of prarabdha, Guruji. That I could not understand.
Yeah, your question is right. Actually, what I can understand is that sometimes devotees, because of humility, may speak like that. That it is my prarabdha, because of that I got in situation like this, like that. But technically, what you are saying is correct. Technically, uh, any spiritual opportunity or any deprival of spiritual opportunity will not have anything to do with the mundane karma aspect like that. But it could be his humility, because of that he is speaking like that. ठीक है?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
yes, Akash.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhuji, as we heard here, you told that whenever we start chanting, then Krishna takes personal interest and then he guides. So Prabhuji, इसमें चैंटिंग का कुछ लेवल होता है या इनिशियल्स में जैसे न्यूफाइट नेचर है मेरा, तो ऐसे अभी से कृष्णा पर्सनल इंटरेस्ट लेने लगेंगे, या इनिशिएशंस के बाद में, मतलब कोई फॉर्मल इनिशिएशंस होता है उसके बाद में, लाइक गुरु तो इनिशिएशंस के बाद में कर्मा लेते हैं, ऐसा जो हम सुनते हैं, तो कोई लेवल होता है चैंटिंग का जब कृष्णा पर्सनली हमारे लाइफ में इंटरफेयर करते हैं?
नहीं, इसमें अजामिला ही जस्ट कॉल्ड आउट नारायण, दैट ऑल्सो रेफरिंग टू सन। तो उसमें सुखदेव गोस्वामी से तद विषयामति ही, he says the moment somebody calls out Lord's name, his attention goes, because नाम उनका है ना। अब जैसे कोई, आपका नाम आकाश है और कोई ऐसे ही सोते हुए भी चिल्ला दे आकाश, तुरंत आपका ध्यान चला जाए भाई कौन है, राइट ना? सेम इज द नेचर ऑफ द लॉर्ड। The moment we start chanting, it may be, namabhas also, or, it may be parihasya. Anyway, Lord attention is there. But obviously, after his attention comes, he may see, अरे बाप रे, ये तो हो रहा है chanting में. His attention we can attract by holy name, but then after he sees us, what he feels, that we don't know. Yes, Sandeep bro.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you told when some newcomers in Krishna consciousness, he left some sinful activities, and he also told after the last prarabdha purification happened. How these two things are related to
Means how they are not related? What is your question?
it? How they are related? Like yes, both are different.
No. See, what is mentioned is that the reactions, they go gradually. So the complete eradication of prarabdha will happen at those stages. But gradually it starts, no? So like some purification of some sinful tendency, desire, we can experience in current life and now also. But when we say complete, then that time these stages are involved. As it is mentioned at level of asakti, this will go. ठीक है?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Aman Tiwari Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for this wonderful one. Prabhuji, I see some slackness in bhakti. It's like, what is the reason for having this slackness? Unless some shaking up situation comes, till then we don't really go and pray to Lord. Why this slackness comes up?
Yeah, slackness, why it comes, one thing is by nature we have that dullness or lack of sincerity or seriousness for spiritual life. That is one reason. Like you find if anything material opportunity comes, how excitement comes, enthusiasm comes, and how eagerness comes, right? For material things, you see people have become, they become mad for cricket, they become mad for movies, and so many things, is it not? But by nature also we lack that seriousness and attraction for spiritual life because of our conditioned nature. So that is why for we sadhakas, one thing is very extremely important is a regulated quality time for our basic sadhana. No matter what happens, actually, if we sleep on time and have quality time for chanting in the morning, have quality time for hearing, have quality time for reading, if these basic things are taken care, then you'll find we can break that cell of slackness or that inertia or dullness. If not, then it becomes difficult. And you will find all the devotees, whichever ashram they may be in, If they are practicing seriously, then they are giving quality time for reading, hearing, chanting. And it's not become ritualistic like that. When we chant, then we offer sincere prayers, we have sincere aspiration, my dear Lord, I got such the opportunity to chant your holy names, and please help me. I want to hear, I want to please you. And when you read something, reflect on it, what you read, how it is related to you, and how you can become a better devotee. Similarly, when you hear, reflect on it, see how you can apply. So, like that, we should identify with our reading, hearing, chanting. We should connect with our reading, hearing, chanting. And then you'll find we can break that cell. Otherwise, there is a tendency in the mind, because mind in a conditioned state does not have so much interest also. So naturally, he makes everything mechanical. ठीक है शिवाश जी?
हरे कृष्ण
ओके
प्रभु
यस प्रभु
जी, मुझे भी एक चीज क्लैरिफाई करना था प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी,
हम्म
कई बार हम सुनते हैं कि प्रारब्ध के कारण भी सॉरी अपराध के कारण भी जो डिजीजेज होती हैं वो होती हैं। जैसे कि अमोघा का एग्जाम्पल सुनते हैं, और वो ब्राह्मण जो हरिदास ठाकुर को ब्लास्फेम कर रहे थे उनका एग्जाम्पल सुनते हैं कि कैसे उनका
हम्म
डिजीज फिजिकल बॉडी में डिजीज हुआ था अपराध के कारण।
हम्म
तो मुझे मतलब फिर अपराध के ऐसा देखे, ऐसा लग रहा है कि सब कुछ अपराध से ही हो रहा है मतलब।
सब कुछ अपराध से ही हो रहा है ऐसा लग रहा है।
हाँ यस जी, मतलब
ओके ओके नहीं जरूरी नहीं है। ऐसे
हम्म
क्या रहता है अपराध कर्मा ये सब बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स हैं।
हम्म
किसके साथ हुआ है, किस लेवल का हुआ है, कब हुआ है, कितना हुआ है, बहुत सारे पैरामीटर्स होते हैं।
हम्म
तो उसके अनुसार रिएक्शन आता है।
हम्म
और जो अपराध आप कोट कर रहे हैं दे आर सीरियस ऑफेंसेस टू प्योर सोल। देखो अमोघा का अपराध किससे हुआ, चैतन्य महापुरुष ही डायरेक्ट हो गया।
हम्म
और जो दूसरा आप बता रहे हो श्रीवास ठाकुर से हुआ या हरदास ठाकुर से,
हम्म
तो दे आर वेरी प्योर सोल। प्योर सोल प्योर डिवोटी के प्रति अपराध होता है वो तो बहुत फास्ट एक्ट करता है। In our case, we may have some offenses, but we may not have committed some serious offenses also. So we may not get such heavy reaction for that. But generally, what happens for we sadhakas, uh, mostly what happens by our speech, we may hurt some devotees or we may not follow certain etiquette. So by that, what happens in most cases is our taste for spiritual life goes down. And because uh, it is rare for us to commit a very serious offense against a serious person. Mostly what offense we do that reduces our taste for spiritual life. So we have to be careful. ठीक है?
यस थैंक यू।
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much all devotees for taking out time coming. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai.